All right, today we are diving into the complete story, the full, bloody, and honestly, surprisingly emotional saga of one of gaming's absolute titans, Kratos. I mean, from a rage-filled warrior to a dad. His journey is a straight-up epic tragedy. So let's get into it.
Okay, but first things first, let's get something out of the way that a lot of people wonder about. His story is so tangled up with the Greek gods, right? So you'd think Kratos himself must be a figure straight out of ancient myths. Is he, though?
Yeah, the short answer is nope. Kratos is actually a modern creation, just brilliantly designed for the games. But the way his story is woven into the myths, it feels ancient. And that whole saga, it all kicks off in the super brutal world of ancient Sparta.
So this is where it all begins. Picture this, Kratos, the youngest captain in the entire Spartan army. He was a total rising star, this incredibly fierce warrior, and he was driven by one single all-consuming desire, victory, at any cost.
And that ambition, it led him right to the edge. He's on a battlefield. His army is about to be completely wiped out by this massive barbarian horde. His men are dead. He's seconds from death himself. And he does the only thing he can think of. He cries out to a god for help. Now, this wasn't just some desperate prayer. Oh no, this was a deal, a pact. He pledged himself to a god, and in return, he got the power he craved. But it set him on this path of, well, damnation that would haunt him for the rest of his life.
And this right here just lays out the terrible price he paid. He pledges his soul to Ares, the god of war. In exchange, he gets the iconic blades of chaos, literally seared onto his arms. But Ares wasn't just giving him a gift. He was molding him into the perfect killing machine. Through this monstrous, horrible trick, he manipulates Kratos into slaughtering his own wife and child. And as if that wasn't enough, an oracle curses him, binding their ashes to his skin forever. This is how he becomes the ghost of Sparta.
You know, this act it shattered him completely. For the next 10 years, Kratos serves the other gods, just relentlessly tortured by these nightmares of what he'd done. He's desperately searching for the peace and forgiveness they promised him. But spoiler alert, they never delivered. All that service was just fueled by guilt and this overwhelming need to forget. So after one last betrayal, that quest for absolution, it just curdles into pure, undiluted vengeance. Kratos turns all that rage away from himself and points it squarely at the gods. This is the start of his systematic, brutal war against the entire Greek pantheon. And his path of destruction was, wow, it was absolute. First, he takes down Ares, his old master, and he becomes the new god of war. Then, he defeats Poseidon, which literally floods the entire world. He even fights his way out of the underworld and kills Hades himself. And that bloody rampage leads him all the way to the top, to the king of the gods, Zeus.
So here's where it gets really juicy. Why did Zeus turn on him? Well, Zeus heard this prophecy that he'd be killed by a marked mortal. And who did he think that was? Kratos, his own son. So in trying to kill Kratos first, Zeus basically sets in motion the very thing he was terrified of. Classic Greek tragedy, right? So, after he finally kills Zeus and Olympus is basically in ruins, Athena shows up. And she reveals that way back when Kratos opened Pandora's box to kill Ares, he didn't just unleash evil, he also absorbed the power of hope. She wants it back, but instead of giving it to her, Kratos impales himself with the blade of Olympus, releasing hope for all of mankind as the world just crumbles around him. But that wasn't the end of his story. Somehow, Kratos survived all that. He travels far, far away, all the way to the Norse world of Midgard. And the man we find there is different. Older, bearded, way more quiet. He's desperately trying to bury the ghost of Sparta and just live a peaceful life as a husband and a father. And wow, this slide just nails that transformation, doesn't it? The blades of chaos, those symbols of his cursed past, they're gone, replaced by the Leviathan axe. The motivation isn't revenge anymore, it's family. And that core emotion, that uncontrollable rage, is now a constant, painful struggle for restraint. He is a totally changed man, just trying to keep the monster inside on a leash.
So his new life is all about this one simple but incredibly profound quest. His wife, Faye, has just passed away, and her last wish was for him and their son, Atreus, to scatter her ashes from the highest peak in all the realms. A personal journey, not another war. But of course, it was never going to be that easy.
Yeah, it turns out you can't really hide the fact that you're a god forever. His presence in this new land does not go unnoticed. It starts attracting the attention of the local gods, the Aesir, and it forces that past he fought so hard to bury to come roaring right back to the surface. So on this journey, he comes face to face with all the key players of this new mythology. He's hunted relentlessly by Baldur, an Aesir god who can't feel any pain. He finds a pretty reluctant ally in Freya, the Witch of the Woods, who's got some deep secrets of her own. He even gets a new guide in Mimir, a witty, talking severed head. And right at the center of it all is his son, Atreus, who has no idea who or what his father really is. Then, Atreus gets seriously ill, and it's because his own divine nature is basically at war with his ignorance of it. This forces Kratos' hand. He has to reveal the one secret he never wanted to share. He looks at his son and tells him the truth. You are a god, boy. And this reveal, it has the exact effect Kratos was terrified of. Believing he's superior to everyone, Atreus becomes arrogant, cruel, and just reckless. For this horrifying moment, Kratos sees that same all-consuming rage that once defined him staring right back at him, from his own son's eyes. So this simple journey to fulfill Faye's final wish, it gets all tangled up with the prophecies of this new world. And as they get closer to their goal, they realize their actions are starting to turn the gears of Ragnarok, the Norse apocalypse. Okay, so in the final showdown, Baldur attacks them, and he even turns on his own mother, Freya. To save her, Kratos is forced to kill him. But what he doesn't know is that Baldur's death breaks a magical spell that was holding back the Great Winter, Fimbulwinter, which officially kicks off the countdown to Ragnarok. So they finally make it. They're at the highest peak in Jotunheim, the land of the giants, and they find this incredible mural. It shows their entire journey, foretold ages ago, and it drops a bombshell. Faye, Kratos' wife, was actually a giant. That makes Atreus part god, part giant, and part mortal. Talk about a complicated family tree.
But wait, there's more. The prophecy had one last, absolutely world-altering secret. The giants didn't call his son Atreus. His mother had a different name for him, a name that is very well known throughout all of Norse mythology.
Loki. That's right. Kratos' quiet, kind of nerdy son is the very same figure destined to become the Norse god of mischief, a major, major player in the apocalypse to come. And all of that leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? After destroying one pantheon and basically making an enemy of another, after escaping a past defined by fate only to find himself and his son at the very center of another prophecy, can the man who killed his own gods ever truly be free? Can he actually change his nature, or is he destined to always, always be the god of war?